Hey everybody, welcome back to Lessons Learned by Unica. As you know, on this channel I discuss with you all basically the lessons that I've learned throughout my life, whether family lessons, lessons at work, just all sorts of lessons. And I'm hoping that a lot of these lessons that I've learned will be of benefit to you. We also, on this channel, we reward our struggles and we celebrate our wins. That little thing that you do, we like to reward it. So keep that in mind. So if you want to share those kind of things down below, feel free. But today, we are addressing our frustrated, tired landlords. Listen up. Our frustrated, tired landlords. I'm talking to you. Are you tired of receiving repair requests? Are you simply frustrated with receiving a property that is dismantled and tore up between every tenant turnover? Are you simply tired of tenant complaints? And are you just wore out, frustrated, and tired of chasing tenants for your rent? Well, listen up. You have come to the right video. I got you covered, okay? All right, get your pen and paper. Go ahead, get your pen and paper, because today I will discuss with you 10 tips to help you, yes, you, my tired, frustrated landlords. 10 tips, here we go, 10 tips to help you to retain happy tenants that will love and care for your property for life and make your landlord-tenant partnership a peaceable one. All right, you got your pen, you got your paper, you ready for these 10 tips? All right, then you're going to have to be humble because here they come. You ready? The first tip to retain your tenants for life and to have happy tenants and to make your landlord-tenant partnership a happy, peaceable one, the first thing you want to do, landlords and property managers, treat them with respect. Treat the tenant with respect. What do I mean by that? Do not speak to them that like the tenant is your child, okay? Just because they're renting your place doesn't mean that they've been demoted to being your child. Second thing, under showing respect, you want to dignify them with your speech. Again, don't treat them like they're your child, and dignify them with your speech. Don't speak down on the tenant, all right? So watch your tone of voice when you speak to your tenants. And the third thing under showing or treating them with respect is to listen to the tenant and, if possible, implement all possible suggestions. They live in your property. They know what's going on. Implement the suggestion if it's possible and address any tenant concerns to the best of your ability. Now, not all tenant concerns, not all tenant suggestions can be done, but are you trying? See, that shows respect. You see that? That's the first thing. That's number one. Treat your tenants with respect. Number two, provide decent housing for them as if it were you living in the property. You've heard the term slumlord. See, if the tenant knows that you love and care for the property, guess what they're going to do? Write it in the comments. What do you think they're going to do? If you care for the property, what do you think they're going to do? You're right. They're going to care for it too. But if you don't care for the property and you provide them with stuff that's torn up, beat up, I mean, why would you put them in a property when all of these things need to still be done? You see, but yet you want them to care for the property. You see? So provide your tenants with decent housing as if you were going to live there. Okay? Number three, Always refer to the lease agreement whenever there are misunderstandings between you and the tenant. Always refer to the lease agreement. You see, because if you sitting there having conversations with them, fighting with them, going back and forth, having arguments, that will get you nowhere. Just refer to the lease agreement, send them the paragraph, send them the line item, and guess what? Sometimes you might even have to send them another copy, a PDF copy of the lease agreement. Okay? Respectfully share with them what the lease says, because sometimes they forget. Okay? So if they have a certain misunderstanding between you and the tenant, do not have a back and forth argument and get all into that. No, don't do that. Refer to the lease agreement or the housing regulation that is in your jurisdiction, because that's where the lease agreement information comes from anyway. Okay? Number 4, remember that the tenants are a part of your team. Did you know that? They are part of the team. Do you know if the tenant does not pay your rent, that you can't pay your mortgage? You see? That you won't have the money to care for the property and the maintenance unless you decide to come out of your pocket. But the point of having the tenant and the property, I would assume that you do want to profit, right? So you do need the rent, don't you? Right? So don't forget that they're not your children. They are part of your team. They're team players. You see? So any kind of partnership, we treat them with respect, don't we? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so don't forget. Keep in mind, yeah, that's my team member. That's my team player. We're in this together. Yeah, don't forget it. All right? Number 5, let your tenants know that you appreciate them. You ever thought about that? Yeah. Let your tenants know that you appreciate them, especially when they pay their rent on time. They notify you promptly of all tenant repair requests. Don't get an attitude talking about something they always calling you. They're calling you sir or ma'am, landlord or homeowner or property manager. They're calling you because there's an issue with the property. And the faster you get out there to take care of it, it helps to maintain the property, right? The property is where you're getting an appreciated value, right? You don't want the property to depreciate. Take care of it. If you have to upgrade things, if you have to replace some things, you want to take care of the property as if it was your own, okay? So when they call you, that's a good thing. When they call you promptly about a leak or anything, let them call you. They should call you. But appreciate that and thank them for that. Also, be happy and show appreciation to them if they keep your place tidy. If they keep the home tidy and take care of it. And guess what? Sometimes they can serve as I call it a neighborhood watch, but a community watch. They watch out for what's going on, and they let you know when someone has left the door open or when perhaps somebody been lingering around the property. There's little things that you may not find important, but that is important. That's a good thing. Show appreciation to these lovely tenants, okay? They are your partner. They're your team member. Don't forget it, all right? Number 6, respond to all repair requests promptly. Just like you want them to call you promptly, the lease says they should call you promptly or notify you promptly. But make sure they know how to reach out to you, right? But you need to respond to all repair requests promptly if you want happy tenants. okay, that's going to be retained for life, that will make your life at peace. You see? That way you don't have to be a frustrated, tired landlord or property manager no more. You see? Now, number 7, do not allow vendors to just show up and enter into the property at their own leisure without scheduling and confirming the time with the tenant. They should not be allowed to just roll into the apartment or into the house without the tenant knowing. And guess what? Ask the tenant, do you want to be there when the vendor comes? Yeah, that might be a little inconveniencing, but that's okay because it shows respect. And you don't want anything missing. Remind the tenant that when the vendors come, to put away their valuables. Tell the tenant, put away your valuables. Because you don't want to be accused of having a vendor, not saying that they do, but things happen. Now, you don't want to be accused of having a vendor that stole something. But if you let the tenant know, put away your valuables, okay? You know, the vendor is going to be calling you. You schedule it, and then let me know when it's confirmed. Okay? So do that. Don't let the vendors just show up in the property. Don't just give them the key and let them come in. Let them know they have to call the tenant, make sure the vendor has the tenant's phone number, and then call the tenant back and let them know they're going to be receiving a phone call from X person to schedule the appointment. You see how that works? That's respect. Number 8, follow up with the tenant to ensure that the repair request was completed to the tenant's satisfaction. Not only making sure that the repair request was correct, but also that it was to the tenant's satisfaction. You can text them and ask them that question, and they can text you back and say, yep, I'm happy now and everything is great. You see? And sometimes they'll even send you a little picture to let you know it was great and how happy they are, right? Now, number 9, you need to make either quarterly, it's up to you, that's every season, or biannually, usually the spring and fall, or at least at the very minimum, annual inspection. You see, when you decide that you're going to have an inspection before the tenant move in and after they move out, that means if they've been there for 5-10 years and you have not done an annual inspection at the very minimum, and you surprised as to why in the world the place looks a disaster and you got to spend all that money for transitioning the tenant over, well, when the last time you been there? See, you want to blame the tenant. But have you made quarterly inspections? Have you made biannual inspections? Or have you at least come by annually? Okay, if you don't want to go, fine. Can you hire a home inspector? Can you hire a home inspector to at least go by there? Can you do that? Can you do that? You see? Can you see how this can make your life easier? Again, I'm going to repeat myself. If the tenant sees that you care for the property, what do you think they're going to do? Put it in the comments. What do you think they're going to do? Yeah, they're going to take care of it too. They know that. They know Mr. or Mrs. Property Manager or Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner or Mr. and Mrs. Tired Landlord or Frustrated Landlord going to be by here. You see, so they're going to take care of their property. You see, but if you don't show interest in that property, why should they? Sometimes we got to take responsibility for what we don't do. All right? Now, here's our 10th and final point. When you first sign the lease with the tenant, please, I'm begging you, please perform a walk-through inspection of the property. Take pictures. And then let the tenant be there with you so they can also perform their own walkthrough and take pictures. And while they're there, if it is their responsibility to change the air filter, can you show them how to do so? Can you show them where the air filter is, where it needs to go at? And can you have them to take a picture of the size of the air filter, since they're responsible for replacing it, especially if it's a house that they're renting? All right. Now, if they're responsible for winterizing the property, can you show them how to do it, especially if it is around September, October, and not in the freezing temperatures? And if it's in the freezing temperatures, can you come back in the spring? Because you would have already winterized it, right, in October, right, before they moved in, if they moved in December and January when it's cold. But when it is spring, can you show them? Go back and show them, oh, yeah, I need to come back since it's now warmer outside to show you that in October, when October comes, this is how you winterize the property. And then when springtime comes, this is how you de-winterize the property. See, so if the pipes freeze, because the lease holds the tenant responsible, especially if it's a house, for not winterizing the property properly. But if you never showed them, are they really at fault? So these are 10 tips for my frustrated, tired landlords, my frustrated, tired property managers who are just tired of managing tenants. But let me tell you, if you apply these 10 tips, then you can retain happy tenants that want to stay in your property for life. And you will no longer be frustrated and tired, but you will have a partnership with a landlord-tenant partnership. Let me say that will be a peaceable one. So thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and watch that next video that's coming up next. And you, boom, don't forget to tune in to our next video. Thanks for showing, and or should I say, thanks for watching. Have a good one.